Welcome back everyone, and today will be a review of the Monster High Universal Monsters Dracula doll. It just released yesterday and I ordered it via Walmart and it arrived today, which is really nice. So only 1 day shipping. It did come in the Walmart box, and then the box had the typical Mattel box, which I'm going to show because it's kind of interesting. It's been a while since I've received a collector doll, I think. So I found this very interesting that now it's like red and they are telling you not to open it. I'm assuming this is for the store distributor. So if they send this to Walmart, Target, etc., they really want, outside of dolls that are obviously being sold in store, they really want the store not to take them out of the box. I'm assuming this is to avoid any issues as far as shipping damage. 2 boxes is better than 1. That way they don't have to worry about reimbursing or replacing damaged boxes, since these are collector dolls. But here is the doll. I only bought Dracula. I was really only interested in Dracula. I was kind of interested in the Frankenstein one, but I really don't want to over-purchase, especially now because they are releasing another set of dolls later in the year, and I really want to purchase those as well. So here she is. I really like the design of her box. I won't pull out the box, but I will pull down my Skeletor, the original Dracula, just to compare at the end. But I really like the design of this Dracula's box. It has the candles in the front. It's got Dracula in red metallic text on the front. The background does not look like it's AI, thankfully. I don't know though, honestly. I'm not going to worry about it right now. And then the top part, if I can show it a little bit, has some skulls and bats, like she's in a tomb, basically. That's what this is giving me the vibes of, like she's in a tomb somewhere and being resurrected, I guess. She could also just be in some of the lower levels of Monster High. But this is supposed to be an iteration of Dracula going to Monster High, I think. They're all wearing kind of casual outfits. This is such a cool, not art, but photography. And then the back does have some text. The strangest mystery of all time, back from the grave. In the dark depths of a spooky castle lurks a mysterious count named Dracula. A horror legend with a piercingly hypnotic gaze and shadowy cape, Dracula stands out as an icon of sinister style. Sleeping in a coffin by day and hunting for prey by night, the story of this vampire will chill and thrill anyone brave enough to listen. And then it has it in French at the bottom. And then, again, we have more of the candles and the tomb motifs. Universal Monsters. I wonder if they're going to do more, because they went ahead and made like a brand for it, if you can see a little bit. So that makes me think they're going to include more later on down the line, but excited for this. There is her barcode. I don't really know if this matters. I guess somewhat, because she is in store and she does have a viewing window on the top, which is interesting. I'm assuming this doll is intended to be viewed in the box. I'm kind of tempted to keep her in the box, honestly, because she looks really cool in there. So I'm going to see if I can take her out without having to really undo a lot of it. But we'll see. I'm still going to open her. But the reason I mentioned that is because the fact that they added a viewing window in the top makes me think this is definitely a collector, but because she's widely released through retailers, obviously a lot of people are going to take her out of the box. But it's nice that they added this, because that means if you do put her on a shelf and the shelf happens to have lighting, it'll go through this viewing window and illuminate her from the top, which will look really cool, honestly. I'm tempted to take out some of my lights and just test that out. Here I have one of the lights that I use on one of my figure shelves. Okay, that in the back are my grow lights. I don't think I can turn those off, but I will turn off my ring light and see kind of what this will look like. Wow, that looks so cool. Let's block that so y'all can see. So honestly, that's amazing. I am having second thoughts about opening her, honestly. She looks so cool in the box. Oh man. That is so tempting to just leave her in the box. Ooh, that looks pretty cool too. These aren't the brightest, but you can definitely get better ones on Amazon. And these that I have just come with a little remote to change the lighting. So really cool that you have some options. So let's get started. I'm going to leave the viewing window alone and open her from the bottom. Oh shoot, she doesn't have any tape. That's nice. Let's see. Okay. Here is what she looks like. Get a good view of her inner artwork. She looks really good. Okay. She doesn't look like she has too many of these, but wow, look at that. Just digging into her leg. Those I for sure will remove. And then she comes with, so she has this little bag in the back of her box, which I think comes with her the rest of her props. Oh, it's her base. Okay. Okay, so that's her stand, which just looks like a typical Monster High stand. I'm assuming, yeah, here's the rest of it. There is some licensing codes or maybe lock codes on the bottom. Interesting. So I think her hands will be easy to remove. And her hair as well. It's just her legs that are kept in by these ties, which cannot be undone. Basically, the only way to get her out is to maybe slide them out. But that's honestly kind of a hassle for me. I don't really know if I want to do that. I might just cut them all off, and then when I put her back in the box for display, if I feel like doing that, I will just pose her in a way that she still stays in pretty well. So I'll come back. Okay, she is out. So basically, I did still have to cut a few things. I don't think you necessarily have to, but I was really scared of ripping her fishnets. So I did cut the bottom of these ties. This one I left intact. What I ended up doing is releasing the blister, the upper half of the blister, and pulling it out just a little bit so I could cut the tags. There were 3 in her head, usual stuff for Monster High. To keep the head of the doll in there. So I cut those and then I just slid these back through the slots. So that remained intact. I removed her hands so that I could slide her wrists out of these little things. There was one tag that I did have to cut that was in her cape. You can kind of see the hole in it now from that, which is kind of annoying, but I'll get into more detail about that later. But yeah, outside of those two and the ones on the blister and the cape, you can slide her out while keeping the packaging intact. And I think she'd be fine sliding back in there as well. I'll just have to see if, you know, her legs move about or anything back down here. I don't think they will. I think they'll be fine. So yeah, happy. I think I will probably try to put her back in the box for display. Maybe later, just because I don't have the room to display another doll in box right now. I have too many plushies and other stuff on display, but I'm definitely saving the box for that purpose. But now let's get into the doll. She is stunning. She may look a little washed out for a minute, but it's really hard for me to tell on the viewfinder how much you can see of her outfit because it's all black. So I'll lower the brightness when I get to her face, but she is so pretty. Initially, when they announced another Dracula doll, I really wasn't interested because I already have one here. So side by side, here what the 2 Monster High Dracula dolls look like. This is the new Universal Monsters, and on the left we have the original Skeletor that was a little bit more expensive, and you could only purchase her through Mattel Creations. I think the OG one is really cool as well. I really liked her. She kind of started my descent back into Monster High dolls. I've mentioned a few times in my reviews of Monster High videos that I really liked Monster High as a concept. I watched the little webisodes all the time when I was a kid and a teenager, but I never actually bought a lot of the dolls. One, they were kind of pricey for what they were. I really valued quality even back then because I was starting to get into anime figure collecting. $25 I think is what they originally retailed for. Seeing the quality of the doll clothing, I just wasn't interested up until the Freak to Chic line, and I did end up buying 2 dolls from there on sale. But I didn't really buy much after that, and then that's when Monster High kind of died down, and they revamped to G2, and I just lost interest. And then they released this one. I saw an article about her and I was like, oh my gosh, I need her. I was able to find her secondhand, which is great. She, I think, is based more on the OG stereotypical Universal Dracula, not necessarily the Bram Stoker one, where he's, you know, wearing that little suit and everything, and they gave her this suede outfit. But she looks very regal. And I think that's the main difference. She also comes with accessories. In addition to her little bat friend right here, she also came with a candelabra that she could hold, which was really cute. So she has a lot of that classic vampirism, a lot of those motifs to her. She looks very classic and adult, whereas the new Dracula, I think, is designed more to kind of pay homage to this original outfit, but make it female, and also like maybe she's the direct daughter of Dracula and going to Monster High. It's a little more like classic schoolgirl business. I don't know, just a little more youthful, I guess. But I think she looks really cool. She only comes with one accessory, which is her little purse. That honestly, to me, looks like it's a direct copy of oh, it's not. Okay. A lot of people were saying that this is a direct copy of the Dracula heels, which were little coffins, and they do open. I never open mine, so this may be hard, so I'm not going to open them, but they do open. And like, yeah, but a coffin is kind of standard for a vampire. I mean, what else were they going to give her? It does open, and it has sculpting of what looks like rats, and just, no, yeah, it's just a bunch of rats. At first I was going to say it's like dirt and rats, but no, it looks like a pile of rats inside, which is pretty gnarly. It has a molding of chains and then a handle. The rest of the coffin isn't too much to talk about. It does have spider webs and then the Monster High skelet at the front. So pretty standard, I would say. So I'll start with her face. She has a really stunning screening, very intense, dark blood red makeup. Her lips kind of look like they have a dual tone thing going on, where it's half black, or it's red, but with some shading of some dark red or black. Really pretty. Her eyes as well have really intense black makeup with just a little hint of red in her eyes, and her eyes are actually glittery. It's really hard for this camera to focus super close, but you can kind of see the glitter in her eyes. At first I thought I wouldn't like it, because I'm not really a fan of glitter on anything. I think it tends to look gaudy, and I don't really care for the texture that it adds, but this is really pretty. It's hardly noticeable, but you can tell it shimmers. And then she also has a little bit of shimmer going on her eyeshadow. It is gray, so it's a little less noticeable, but in person it's really pretty. She's got very intense dark eyebrows, which I love. In addition to that, she does thankfully come with some earrings. I thought with these being more budget collectors, that they wouldn't really do much. But she does have these cool earrings. It's a skelet on the top, and then it has, I think, just 2 beads and then a blood drop is what it looks like to me. And she's got that on both sides. Her hairstyle isn't really too much to talk about. She just has the, I don't really know what this is called. Frankie has the same art style. Frankie has the same hairstyle, where the front of her hair, or what would be her bangs, are pulled up into a small little ponytail, and then the rest of her hair is just down. This does feel like saran to me. It's really soft, no gel from what I can feel, and I would say if you boil wash it, it would look amazingly sleek. I think her OG had very similar hair. Same with the hairstyle. The only difference is that her OG had this headpiece, so you couldn't really tell, but I think she more or less has the same hairstyle. So to me, this really does feel like kind of the daughter of the original a little bit, because she does use the standard Monster High body, whereas the original had the big sister body. But anyway, moving on, we have her moving down, we have her collar. which has a very shoddily painted necklace, which feels like it's tied down, or oh, I see. There's a rubber band keeping it down. That's why it's not really movable, but it is on a red band. This is all plastic, by the way, but she does have a cute little fabric bow tie attached to what I'm assuming is the top of her shirt. I'm going to take her off the stand because I will say most of her outfit is pleather. So I'm a little apprehensive about using the original Monster High stand for her. It's quite tight on her, and I'm worried it might damage the material. So on the back, we can see she has her cape, which is honestly quite cheap. This feels like Halloween costume material. That's actually what it is, I think. It's very thin, very stiff polyester. It's slightly shiny on the top and then matte on the bottom. But it does look like they burned the edges so it doesn't fray. Here you can kind of see the hole that was left by that little tag. It was the only one there, so that's good. No other damage. Now I will say, it seems like her cape is attached to her top, so you can't remove it and then just leave her with her regular outfit. And her top is also attached through a tag, which is kind of stupid. I was going to completely take her apart to show y'all what all of her out pieces are, but the fact that they didn't even put like a Velcro or a clip here, that kind of annoys me, because once you take that tag off, it's not going to lay the same. You need to add some kind of clip yourself, or I don't even think Velcro would be the right material for this. It just wouldn't look as nice. So that's really disappointing that that is an actual tag you have to remove to even undo her outfit. So under her little half coat with the cape attached, it does look like her shirt is sewn in with the skirt, so it's one piece. Okay, so it does Velcro in the back, so if you do decide to remove the tag and, you know, take her outfit apart, you can re-Velcro at least the rest of the outfit. That aside, which is kind of a big issue for me, honestly, but whatever. I do like her outfit. I know a lot of people thought it looked cheap, and I agree. I think the main thing is this jacket with her cape. It's made out of that Halloween costume material, so it does very much look very cheap, and it feels pretty cheap too. But the pleather part looks so good. I kind of wish they had made the jacket the same material, because it does give her that sophisticated look. It looks really good. I like the way that it's stitched, and it gives her these very specific folds in the skirt. I like that they use the red thread on the trimming and hemming so that there's some accent of color throughout her whole outfit. It's not just all black like her OG. She does have full stockings. I did take off her shoes to get her out of the box, and she does have full stockings, which is really nice. They also don't feel like too cheap stockings wise. I was very afraid that the way the elastics in the box were holding onto them, that I would get some kind of rip in the stockings, but so far no. They did withstand all of it. But that's pretty much all there is to her outfit. It's just the top piece with the jacket and cape overlay, her earrings and her accessories, and her shoes with the stockings. I do like that. I like also the very intense seam in the back. I don't know why. But let's take a look at her shoes. Really pretty shoes. Monster High always kills it with the shoes. She's got a bat as her heel, like a flying bat. It's in clear red plastic. Downside to that is that you can kind of see where it attaches, like where they had to attach it in the factory. The rest of her shoe is spiderweb themed. It's like a standard shoe, but it has the texture of quilted spiderwebs, I guess is what I would describe it as. And then she's got one painted buckle in red. And then I think these are either supposed to be drops of blood or fangs. I think based on her other shoe, they're supposed to be fangs, but since there's two of them, but one of them looks really bulky and fat and rounder. So it doesn't look like a fang upon initial look, but it does look cool overall. I really like these. They're simple, but very impactful and stylish. I like them. So that's really all there is to her. One of the issues that I think a lot of people had is that she looked cheap, and I don't disagree. She's also $45 from what I remember me paying at Walmart. The fact that she's a wide release makes me hope that she'll last long enough for people to be able to catch her on sale. I considered it, but I was going to be really bummed if I missed her, so I just went ahead and got her for full price. The main differences between this one and the OG is the screening, obviously. I honestly prefer the newer one screening. It's really intense. There's a lot more going on compared to her original. I think the sculpting is very similar, if not the same, but I'm honestly not sure. I'm not the best when it comes to determining if a sculpt matches another doll's. They have very similar accessories, obviously. The OG has a bow tie, except it's white. The OG has a much nicer looking little necklace medallion thing. And then her skin is gray, which I thought was a really cool touch because it makes her look a lot more undead. Whereas the newer one kind of has a more living person skin tone. Like she just looks like a regular person dressed up as a vampire. Which is not a bad thing. I think it really does a good job of contrasting with her makeup. And again, it makes her look a little more classic Universal monster to me. Because the original very much gives off that antiquity, ancient vampire, undead vibe. Very monstrous, with the exception of her makeup. And the new one just comes off a little more costumey, but in that camp way that a lot of Universal old school monsters are. I still really like her, despite all the issues people had and, my issues. I think the only real issue that I have with her is this part. I have to figure out if maybe I can find a clip small enough to sew into this so that I can remove her jacket myself. Oh, I forgot to say, she also has painted nails, which is neat. The original did not, which was very interesting. She has claws. This one just has a more standard Monster High mold with fingernails. But they are painted, which is cool. The only other thing I would criticize outside of that part, and to me this is a doable issue because I have extra stands. This is really my main issue with her outfit. But just so y'all know, the original Dracula, the cape was detachable. If not detachable, like it was sewn into the sleeves of her outfit, but there was a gap in the back for you to slide the stand in so that you didn't necessarily have to have it grab onto the cape, because the thing about that is that the cape might get wrinkles after a long time being in the stand. So what I did when I first got her, now I got kind of lazy and just did it like that. Well, what I was able to do with that original one though, because of the gap, is slide the stand under her so that it was only grabbing her outfit instead of the cape. Because once you add more bulk into the stand, it really presses down on the fabric and could potentially leave wrinkles and damage over time. So I've never liked that. So with the original, I really appreciated that there was a gap for me to slide the stand into it, so it was only grabbing her outfit. She cannot do that. This new one, her cape, because it is sewn into her outfit, there is no gap. So you either have to kind of live with the fact that her cape's going to be to the side a little bit so the stand can grab onto her waist directly, or you're going to have to display her with the stand grabbing onto her cape as well. I don't really like that either. It's not the biggest deal, like I said, because I have other stands that have a bigger claw that won't really cause much issue. But with her stand right now, it's kind of hard to squeeze her in there. I don't know if Monster High changed the dimensions of their stand clips, but she was kind of fighting me on getting in there, so I'm gonna mess with that later so I don't damage her. But see what I mean? Her cape is so short that doing that is, especially with this type of fabric, it's gonna cause wrinkles. So for now, I'm probably just gonna live with the fact that when I display her in her stand, if I don't switch up the stand, that is, I'm just gonna have to slide her in carefully. The claw just seems really tight on her, even without the cape. It's very strange. I don't know what it is. Maybe if I run that claw over in some hot water or an air dryer and just stretch it out a little bit so it's a little bigger, it won't be an issue. But right now, this feels really tight to me, like it's grabbing onto the fabric, especially for this pleather. I know that's going to cause damage So just keep that in mind. When you get her, you may have to switch out her stand or at least modify it a little bit, or just alter the way that you display her. But that's my review of the Universal Monsters Monster High Dracula doll. I really love her. I think she is so cute. I understand the criticism that a lot of people have about these, but honestly, out of all of them, her and the Frankenstein one seem the most complete. I was interested in the Mummy one because she had that grayscale thing going on, but my issue with her is her outfit was just kind of plain and boring. I think at least Dracula has stuff going on that, there's some design to her outfit. I didn't mention it, but her lapels or little bat wings, those are so cute as well. I think these definitely could have been a little cheaper, but it's up to you if you want to purchase them or not. I think she's a cool doll, and if you like the design, why not? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.